to approve the minutes of the March 31st, 2015 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. Chairman.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs. And we have none. Item number 3 is to receive and place on file sheriff's report fees collected for period ended March 31st, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we receive and place on file the sheriff's report of his fees.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Does the sheriff want to discuss this?
There's not really too much to discuss. It's pretty straightforward. It's obviously our fees. We keep collecting a little more because of the papers we have. The weapons permits are, and the cards are staying about the same, but there'll be a big influx toward the end of this year and the first part of next year because we will have renewals coming in from the 5-year program. And that will equate to probably about 3,000 renewals or a little better. So it's going to make quite a difference.
And will they be able to do that anytime during normal business hours?
Right now we do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all right.
Mondays are a little tough because obviously a lot of things have came in and try to keep up.
So Tuesday through Friday, regular business
Tuesday
hours.
through Friday, except for over the lunch hour because sometimes we're down to one person.
Any other questions on item number 3? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 4, approve Class B beer permit application for Lakeside Municipal Golf Course.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Have you received dram shop and everything?
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4 passes. Item number 5, review proposals for replacement of carpet on north and south stairways in the bank building.
Well, we have two proposals here today. One vendor is giving a quote $10,766. Another vendor is giving a quote of $12,419. Both scopes of work will be to change the carpeting in both the north and south stairways, the bank building, and to replace the carpet at the lower level elevator landing. And they're both using the same type and brand and level of carpeting. So there's enough of a difference that I think they would want to make a decision to move forward.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 6 then, and I'll accept a motion for the proposal to replace the carpet on the north and south stairways of the bank building.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the quotation from Jim's floor covering to replace the carpeting in the north and south stairwells for $10,766.
I'll second Mr. Fletcher's motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 6 passes. Item number 7, review proposals and recommendations from the Department of Human Services for the new telephone system. Any questions?
Well, Carol, we have these proposals here, and am I correct in that the state reimburses us for the cost of these?
Yes, part of the budget that you adopt includes the administration of the Department of Human Services. And the phone system is part of those administrative expenses that we get reimbursed for by the federal LAE program. Pardon me?
If they're gonna go ahead and do it, why don't you?
Well, they were part of our system to begin with, and of course, they have different unique phone systems, or phones that they need for their on-calls and whatnot. So they took bids and made a recommendation, And the board, of course, ends up to be the entity that needs to sign any leases or contracts.
And they're,
It comes before
Apparently they're
you,
leasing.
it becomes essentially county property.
and they received 3 bids, one from Access, Systems, one from Frontier, one from Bemrick. And they have state regulations that they say they have to follow, and they're making the recommendation that they take the lowest bid of that type of system that the state will allow from Frontier.
All right, we will move on to item number 8, to approve and authorize chair to sign a contract for the new telephone system and Department of Human Services.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve and authorize you to sign the contract for the new phone system with Frontier.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 9 passes. Item number 10, approve and authorize chair to sign permit for Nathan Kedick for Asa Goodpasture to extend and connect 6-inch private subsurface drainage tile south across 230th Street to intake approximately 250 feet west of Yankee Avenue between sections 1 and 12, Township 88 North, Range 27, Washington Township.
That was read very, very well, Mr. Chairman. Did you want to do 9?
Oh, I see it now. All right.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That's fine. You want to do 10 so you don't have to stand over
Yeah, let's
here?
do 10 first.
Okay, you know how to work.
Do you want to move that?
Well, I guess I could. I'll move item number 10 as read.
This is a lot of work for you today.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Oh, no, none.
All in favor? Item number 9, approve and authorize transfer in the amount of $104,169 from Fund 0052, Lost Special Revenue Fund, to Fund 0001, General Basic Fund for the courthouse chiller replacement project.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the fund transfer from loss to the basic fund to pay for the chiller project.
I'll second the motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
We should appropriate it. Mr. Leffler's not here. He's the one spending all this money and he leaves.
He's done a very good job working on this project.
Has he?
Yes, he
Yeah,
has.
haven't you seen all the money going out?
Some more right here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 9 passes. Going on to item number 11. Approve and authorize chair to sign a permit from Becker Farms for Nels Pedersen to investigate for existing subsurface drainage tile and outlet along the east side of Madison Avenue approximately 1,320 feet north of VI in section 18, Township 89 North, Range 28, Cooper Township.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve a permit for working in the right way.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 11 passes. Item number 12, approve and authorize chair to sign permit from Tom Horsey for Nels Pedersen to investigate for existing subsurface drainage tile and outlet along and adjacent to 2611 180th Street in section 11, Township 89 North, Range 28, Cooper Township.
Chairman, I'll move item number 12.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 12 passes. Item number 13, approve and authorize chair to sign permit from John Anderson for John Christie to connect 6-inch private subsurface drainage tile to tile and drainage district number 34, approximately 300 feet west of 2348, 290th Street in section 5, Township 87 North, Range 28 West, Burnside Township.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve and authorize you to sign the utility permit.
Second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 13 passes. Item number 14, approve and authorize chair to sign permit from Chris Dinklaw for Dinklaw Services to excavate for water disconnect along 2002 and 2006 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge, Iowa, in conjunction with contracted demolition work in Coleman District.
Chairman, I'll move item number 14.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Item number 14 passes. Item number 15, June minutes to update the board on the foster grandparent program. Please.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm the director of the foster grandparent program here in Webster County, and also cover Calhoun County. Excuse me. Once a year, we are challenged by our federal granting agency to come forth and kind of try to involve our local county supervisors, the mayor, that type of thing, in what our program does. And as you can all appreciate, the federal government knows everything, and so they tell us to do it. Hence, that's why I'm here. Last year, we did this. We invited, Mark came and had lunch with a few of our grandparents and heard some of their stories. Keith Dinklaw serves on our advisory council, so I always feel that if there's something that you need to know, we have a good line of communication with this group. The foster grandparent program is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year nationally. And I just would like to just tell you a few things, and I promise I'm not going to ask for money. So that should be a good thing, right? I know you're disappointed. Foster grandparents are people age 55 and older, and it was originally part of the War on Poverty. And so we recruit folks that are at the lower end of the income spectrum. They have to make less than $25,000 a year if they are in a household of one. I will share that the average grandparent in Webster County has a household income of about $14,000 in their retirement. At the same time, a lot of those people have a lot to give back for children. And I would just share that imagine you're raising your kids, and maybe you're working several jobs. You get ready to put them to bed, and all of a sudden you realize you haven't done homework. You haven't listened to them read. Or you have listened to them read this week and they've read the same book over and over and over to you. Well, foster grandparents listen to that same book over and over and over from 25 students in a classroom and don't lose their patience with it. Foster grandparents are the ones that a teacher can't get around to and give them individual care, but the grandparents can. We had a grandparent a few years ago at youth shelter. One of my favorite comments, he said he helped with the kids with homework, and they called him buddy and pal and a few other names that he wouldn't share in public company. The majority of our grandparents work in classrooms with either helping kids get ready to go to school or succeed in reading. We had 90% of the kids that we worked with last year met the goals that were set for them. And a lot of our teachers here in town and throughout the county, we're also in Dayton and Prairie Valley, tell us that they would hate to do this without the grandparents. In return for serving a minimum schedule of 15 hours a week, most of them serve up to 25, they get a whopping $2.65 an hour. It's a stipend that doesn't count against any other benefits that they receive, but it amounts to between $2,000 and $3,000 a year for foster grandparents, and so that helps them to be able to do things that they might not otherwise be able to do, and doesn't account against if they get rent assistance or those types of things. Some people say, why do you pay those that are volunteers? Well, the fact is they commit to a very strict schedule every week, and it's 1,000 hours a year that they commit to, and so we do this in order to find out who the people are who can really handle doing this kind of work and who will make this type of commitment. It costs the schools nothing to have grandparents. The only actual fee to them is they provide lunch for the grandparents each day when they serve. This noon we're going to Butler School, where the mayor is going to have lunch with the grandmas from Butler and proclaim it the Mayor's Day of National Service at Butler School. The main thing is these are members of our county, our community, that maybe would be not as involved if they didn't have this opportunity. And The fact that we can help them with transportation because our grant requires that. We get them on the DART bus, or we provide them with a daily reimbursement if they drive. And it's the opportunity to get involved. They learn about guided reading. They learn how to, what the kids need in the classrooms. And at the end of the year, a lot of kids call them grandma or grandpa. One of my favorite stories is a grandma who worked with third graders, and there was one student that when he would ask her for help, she would always tease him, and she would say, "I'll help you for a quarter." She's done this a lot of years, and when he graduated from high school, he invited her to his house. And when she came in, he went and got his diploma and handed her a quarter and said, "I think I owe you for this." And so they build really good relationships, and that's what we're about. We're about being mentors in the classrooms, giving kids an opportunity to develop a relationship with someone who's probably a lot older than even their own grandparents. I'll close by telling you that our oldest grandparent is 95 years old. She's been doing this for more than 20 years. A month or so ago, she was trying to, I'll use her words, shove her mattress back where it belonged at the headboard, and she broke 2 ribs. She's recovering in the Marion home, and she celebrated her 95th birthday last week. When her class from St. Edmunds decided to surprise her, and they came over with treats and to sing happy birthday to her. And she was very excited. My coworker Mary Salverson and I went out to be part of the party, and she said, "Oh, I think that's my kids coming." And then she said, "Oh, I thought I would maybe get to see them on the playground." And the nurse was talking to her, and the nurse said, "Well, when it gets warm, we'll push you outside so that you can see them on the playground." And Grandma said, "Well, I don't plan to be here forever. I'm going home and I'm going back to school where I can watch them from over there." This gives people a reason to get up in the morning. It keeps people out of nursing homes and from needing other care that has to be sometimes that you have to step in and provide. And then my final word of thanks, because Carrie is here from Webster County Public Health, we are required to provide them with a physical once a year to ensure that they can serve without detriment to themselves or to the children. And we work with Carrie's staff to have that provided for us, which we're very appreciative of. Again, I'm not here to ask for anything, only just that for your support and your continued interest in what we do. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
You guys do a great job.
Mr. Dinkle has done your work.
Yes, he is.
You get any more work out of him on your board than what we do here?
You know, I'm not going to speak badly of him because one of the first things he did for us was put us in touch with CJ Bio and they wrote us a check. And you know what they say, money talks.
Yeah. Anything else, Bob?
Nope,
Yeah,
that's it.
You're doing something. You're obviously doing really well.
Jeannie, thank you very much.
Yeah,
You guys
thank
do an
you.
outstanding job. It's a thankless job. Some of those kids really do appreciate everything those grants grant.
Thanks very much.
Our next item on the agenda is a recessed public hearing at 10:30. So I will open public comments and questions at this time. We'll jump now to citizens' opportunity to address the board with items not on the agenda.
So Carrie Prescott from the Health Department. I just want to talk a little bit about your item number with the carpet. Can we have a schedule of
I have
when?
it for you.
Awesome. And then we have desks in those areas, so we want to make sure we coordinate and move whatever we need to move.
Yep.
But we appreciate that carpet, so thank you.
We're gonna notify them today. It'll take about 2 weeks for the carpet to arrive and about a 2-week project time, so.
Okay, wonderful. And then will they move our furniture?
I'll contact them.
No, Bob's going to, he's going to suggest they cut around the desk.
Yeah. And you don't have to move.
We don't have to move them.
No.
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear.
Now, just a minute. You just said that she doesn't have to move, so who's going to move them all?
We'll coordinate with you.
Yeah, we'll have to get it coordinated.
Okay, thank you. That's all I asked.
Any other questions or comments? All right,
million into land procurement, and they will be changing their 5-year plan. They will be talking in detail about various projects that are worthy projects that need to be placed in that 5-year plan. It's my feeling that steady as you go, and we're looking very, very well in terms of finishing the 30 miles of Western Iowa. In the same breath, you can understand the remainder of the state is vying for a whole variety of projects, pet projects that they have, and so it'll be interesting to see how they prioritize those and which ones make the cut, which ones don't. But it's advisable from our view that we'll be over there and continue to represent Northwest Iowa and specifically Highway 20, even though it's over there. That's it.
All right. We will recess until 10:30 for the recess public hearing on first consideration of Webster County Ordinance number 46. Consideration to amend the Webster County Ordinance number 046, the zoning ordinance for the unincorporated portion of Webster County, Iowa. Does anybody want a copy of the amended changes?
Yeah.
We have additional copies, Jen?
I have one. Do you want me
We
to
have
make
a couple
more?
here. We do.
Okay. Who wanted?
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Sorry, I didn't bring more. Thanks.
And then we'll turn this over to Sheila.
Good morning, my name is Sheila Lizer, the Planning and Zoning Administrator. As of last time, the 2-acre minimum came into question, and you guys had some questions and thought maybe that should be eliminated. And Jen has then come up with some language towards that. And in talking with some fellow commission members, they thought it'd be best, how about we take this back to the commission, let them look at it, and then give comment back to the Board of Supervisors, which you can always add what you like, but, you know, it'd be a good gesture to let them relook at what you're suggesting and then bring some recommendations to you.
Sheila, can I maybe offer that I see public here that it appears that they would like to make some comment, or
Yes.
I'd like to encourage that we have that comment.
Absolutely,
So that this can.
because we don't get such great attendance at the commission meetings, so it'd be nice if, to hear what the public has to say.
So if we could ask those who have come, and if you've got some thoughts or input that the board and the zoning director can take back to the zoning planning and zoning commission, I'd ask that you kind of share those with us, because this is the opportunity to let us know what your thoughts are. And I assume most everybody's here to talk about the home density, and that is the 2-acre requirement in the county. So, I know some spoke up last week, but I asked you to come forward and step in the microphone,
And state your name.
identify yourself.
Well, I'm John Castendiek, and I'm a local builder. I live in the country on an acreage. Over the years, I found it tougher and tougher to find places to build houses. I mean, when it went to the 40-acre rule, I know a few people that actually had money to buy 40 acres. They built their homes, and then they sold the 38 acres off. If you have that money, that's great, but a lot of people don't. I feel that Fort Dodge, and I'm not trying to put them down, but through the years, the costs have went up for streets and sewers. Building sites have raised in prices. They have covenants that a lot of people cannot build homes on because they can't afford $300,000+ homes. And there's a lot of places out there that have sat empty. The rules that we used to deal with, which needed 911 address, have a building or whatever, those places are still sitting, can't be built on. And I guess I'd just like to say to the supervisors that if you guys do down the road ease up some of this, I think it's going to be beneficial financially from permit fees, property tax rates. You're going to gonna get more money for having new homes setting out there. And, oh, I do know that, with Highway 7, a lot of people have went to Manson and Humboldt. They have a lot more housing sublets that they've started. Their houses have been able to be built more reasonable than what they are around here. And I think if we can open up the county side, I don't think we're gonna really see that much farmland disappear. And it's just gonna give more of an option for people to go out and build. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Anybody else?
I'm David Bradley with Iowa Realty Fort Dodge. Right now we have some acreages listed, and they're under the 2-acre requirement. And from what I understand, if something happened to that particular property, whether it's burned down or destroyed by a tornado, they could not rebuild on that particular property. So it makes it tough for us to promote particular acreage to sell to somebody and be upfront with them without scaring them. Again, some of the banks will not allow or will not loan on particular acreage if it doesn't have that 2-acre requirement. And then also, we're talking about insurance. A lot of times if something's destroyed, they have to build on that particular location again to be valid. So we've addressed this in the past, and I thought we had some type of agreement, but again, I asked you to get that requirement over, to bring it down so that some of these qualify. Even in some of the counties in the article this morning, they're 1 acre, as long as it takes care of the well and the septic, it should fall into that requirement. So I appreciate the opportunity if you would lower that requirement down, because it is affecting Webster County, because some of the counties are open and they're going there. They're losing some housing to some of the other counties, so we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila, do you want to address that, please?
I'll just clarify David's point there. If your house is destroyed by fire, tornado, anything else, and it has less than the requirement, you are allowed to rebuild that. That was changed right after the ordinance was adopted, I think in about 2010. So just so you know, that is not a requirement. It can be rebuilt.
Other questions or comments? Questions or comments from the supervisors?
Well, sorry.
Oh.
I'm Marcine Vasky, and I was here last Tuesday, as you well know. First of all, I believe this is only addressing the 2-acre rule rather than the 40 acres. But I know that while you're at this, while you're looking at this whole situation, I think it is something worth looking also at that 40-acre rule. As he already said, there are people who would love the country life, but it is cost prohibitive to have to purchase, other than being a developer, 40 acres. And you are very concerned about keeping agricultural land, used as agricultural land, and I am too. I am also in farming, very much concerned. But I most of all am concerned, first of all, about the 2-acre rule. There are many beautiful acreages that are less than an acre, and we know from experience. There is another, first of all, I have a question about what's A1 and what's A2, as I believe you're talking about 2 different things here. What determines the difference between A1 and A2? Is it related to CSR? If it is related to CSR, is there a definite number that determines if it's A1, A2, or doesn't come under this 2-acre rule at all? Let's say it has a creek, it has permanent pasture, sometimes beautiful sites for building, or let's say it is too hilly for row crop,
and so on. So there are also some other issues here that need to be addressed when you're dealing with this 2-acre rule. Not only the fact of existing acreages with dilapidated buildings, which I'm 100% in favor of saying, hey, let's change this. You will get more tax value, plus it will be a wonderful site if people invest for a well, probably 20,000 in this area. And if you invest for septic system, you're going to take care of that. And of course, there is always that concern that you start out doing a beautiful acreage and then a few years down the road you sell it to somebody else that's undesirable. We do understand that problem. But as far as right now, I really believe we should be allowed to buy and sell less than 2-acre plots, existing acreages, without a variance hearing, without a commission meeting. This is something, a private right, and as has already been mentioned, other counties joining us are not this strict. And we're losing values, we're losing people from Webster County as residents by being this strict. And if at another time you want to address this 40-acre rule, I have some definite opinions about that too. And I know others do. People who are people that love the country, love the good life, are responsible people, would invest their time and their money to make it a good, lovely homestead. And right now they're restricted in Webster County. And the 40-acre rule, I know why that was set up, but even that, I'm sure, is not something that's followed in nearby counties.
Mark, I'd like to, if there's no other comments, I'm going to suggest that, we close the hearing and that we send this back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their input and further work on this, so that some of the things and concerns can be adequately addressed.
All right. We will close the hearing at 10:42, and under recommendation by Supervisor Fletcher, we will send this back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and wait till further response from them to review this again. We need a motion, Karen. We need a motion, to send it to them.
That would be good, because you
I
think we
you
had
need
one
some
other.
action on this public hearing.
Did you get asked?
Could I
Oh,
make a comment?
absolutely.
My name's John Anderson, and I'm standing in front of you as a private citizen, but also to share with you, I am the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Board this year, and so this will be coming back to us. I want to take the opportunity, as long as you folks are here, it would be great if you was to come to the Planning and Zoning Board when we address this issue, but not because of time restraint or whatever. Sometimes you folks don't show up. There have been times when we have really good meetings, but the point of all of this is that, number one, the difference between A1 and A2 is 65 on the CSR. Anything above is A1, anything below, 65 or below is A2. The problem that we many times face when it comes to acreages is that when the acreage butts up against A1 ground, and then you have a conflict between the people who own the acreage and the people who are farming the ground. When I say a conflict, it's a lot of times man-made. Now, we have in the rules now that if you buy an acreage, 2 acres, and it's up against A1 ground, and you want to plant a tree on that acreage, most people, and the realtors won't tell you this, but they run out there and they plant the tree right on the property line. Well, the rule is, for example, say you want to plant an oak tree and it has a mature height of 45 feet. You have to plant that tree 45 feet back away from the property line. Now, with that type of restrictions, if you was to back away from the 2 acres and make it smaller, you're gonna have less room to make your property aesthetically appealing. And this is just one of the many areas that we have to address with. One of the other areas is overspray and field dust, noise, and all that comes from operating farming. And the more people we get out there, they can say, oh, I love my tree, and I got room for a pony, and I've got my swimming pool, but when the dust comes flying, we have a problem. The zoning board has for years been trying to encourage people to build and develop on A2 ground. With your creeks, your rolling hills, your ravines, things of this nature. It's more aesthetically appealing to the people who do it, and it kind of puts a buffer zone between farming and development. And that is the key to things. We are blessed with a lot of A1 ground, and it has been the consensus for years that we want to keep it as much farming as possible. And of course there are exceptions to everything. That is why we have these different boards, and we have these meetings. But the comprehensive plan that has been developed over the years and is updated at least every 10 years, if not more, addresses these issues. And as our society changes in its not only ideas, but its demands and things, as things move along, there has to be some changes sometimes. To address your, about the 40 acres, Illinois, some of the counties over there want to go to 160 acres. And they know what they're talking about because they can't stop the urban sprawl because those boys in Chicago got more money than most of us put together. And we have to be careful about that, okay? So that's just some of my thoughts. And when we have our meeting, I wish that all of you would come because then we can get things really rolling and we just sit back, we share our viewpoints and our concerns, and most of the time, well actually all the time, we walk out friends, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Any other board members?
How can you top that? Yeah, I was just gonna say, I really can't top that, but, oh. Okay.
Hi, I'm Margot Knippel, and I'm also a member of the Planning and Zoning Board. And I just want to echo what John said, that when we have our meetings, we would love to have the public come. We would love to have your input from the realtors, the landowners, anyone. You're all welcome to come. We just had a review. We have an annual review we go through every year, and when we have issues like the 40 acre, or if you have any questions like that, please come to the board. Talk to Sheila. We'll be more than happy to look at those issues then. And board members, y'all can come too. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
All right, so I'll have that as a motion that we will take this and send it back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for their further work.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll send this back to the Planning and Zoning Board. And we have one other item. We have received a petition from the citizens of Belleville requesting a stop sign. And I'm going to accept this petition, place it on file, and I will give it to Carol. And I've already sent a copy of the